it's the body. Those who made a covenant, those who made a covenant, but sacrifice. Who's all the saints? Our people need run to him. He gave his life. Unfortunately, he didn't die for all men. I tell you no lie. I tell you no lie. No lie. Wait up just a minute. God is in the midst of Joel 2:27. Wait up just a minute. Think I didn't read it right. Hold up just a minute. Pressure breaks a minute. Absorb this all opinion about to show them. I'm about to give them what they want, and I'm about to show them where they're wrong. I just wanna put you first. Cause when the worst come to worst, I don't wanna be with nobody. Yeah, I just wanna put you first. Cause when the storm gets heavy, I just wanna be with nobody. Where's the body? Yeah. Yeah. More than a mortal man that got up on this earth. The more that I read, it come with a lot of perks. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. See, God chose me from my birth to be a prophet among men. Does anybody know where that love went? They'll stab you in the back when you hug them. Traitors they are, more cancerous than a famous cigar. Those toxic haters of ours, man, I see them all. Eased out and my vehicle stopped. I had to meditate. Can't have my miracle blocked by inferior ox with their criminal plots.
All right.
The minimal dots don't.
Hey, shalom, Most High in Christ bless, brothers and sisters. My name is Captain Joel, and this is
Officer Jezreel.
all right. So today's a continuation of the series. We first started off with the African diaspora and the Persian Mede captivity. Now we reached the part of the class when we're discussing the Dalits today. So the topic is, who are the Dalits or the Untouchables, which are being placed in a caste system? So the Dalits or the Untouchables, which we know and which are located in southern India. A lot of people don't know or don't realize. Like I said, we read the book last week. Are the children of Israel, descendants of the northern kingdom, Ben Ephraim. Can we bring up the book? And just like Black Americans, Latinos, and Native American Indians, the children of the diaspora, the children of the slave trade, on the other side of the world, the Eastern Hemisphere, just like the Western Hemisphere, they exhibited the same curses. The plight that Blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians suffer on the Western Hemisphere is the same issues that occur on the Eastern Hemisphere, but under different oppressors. Under the Western culture, we suffer under the American as well as the European rule, colonial rule. And the Eastern Hemisphere, they suffer under the East Indian regime. All right? So, can we bring out the book? Becoming Jewish. Becoming Jewish.
That's it. The Beni Ephraim. The community of Beni Ephraim was established in the late 1980s in the village of Kathardapalam of Gontar, district of coastal Andhra Pradesh, by a group of Christianized Madhya Dalits, untouchables, who, like the Beni Manasseh, declared that they belong to the lost tribes of Israel.
So you would ask yourself a question: how is it that these people on the other side of the world are claiming to be the children of Israel, descendants of the lost tribe of Israel, specifically the tribe of Ephraim. So if you've been following the classes previously, as you can see, the the migration to the Indian Ocean, migration from Israel. You had Ephraim during the time period of Solomon, the Assyrian captivity, along the 70 AD, and afterwards migrated to through the Indus region valley and to India, and went to the coast of Cochin, Malabar, and Kerala. So these are the coasts in which they migrated. And Apostle Thomas also visited the exact Malabar coast and taught the black Jews of Ephraim or Manasseh, which we discussed in our previous lessons. So knowing these things, that the northern kingdom of Israel migrated during 3 to 4 different time periods during the Assyrian captivity. You also I missed the Persian captivity that we'd also discussed. During Queen Esther's time, they migrated. A lot of them were in India. So you had the Persian rule. They had that whole region from Persia, from Elam, Iranian, all the way to modern-day India today. They had that whole region on lock, in which you have the Israelites living there. So a lot of Israelites stayed there. And Israelites throughout time migrated into India, and South India primarily, in which we were inhabited the land with the Dravidian race. And we mixed in. That's why you look at their facial features. They exhibit the same characteristics in facial features as the Dravidian people or the people of that continent in South India. And that's why we really can't associate them with us. We can't really relate to them in terms of appearances. So we can't keep doing this black-only Israelite thing. It's not all black. You can't call this a black group, a hate group, a black supremacist group. Right. No, we're going to shock the hell out of you. When we go to India and when they said, Shalom, you're going to have no choice but to accept that we're not a black hate organization. When they say, sons of God, no, I'm playing. So you're going to have to accept the truth. The Israelites come in all shapes, sizes, race, and different continents. We look like many different cultures. All right? Read on. Now go down.
In 2002, Shemuel Yokobi published a book entitled The Cultural Hermeneutics, offering an account of the history of the community, which may be summarized as follows.
So Shemuel Yokobi was a historian, a scholar. In every nation, every tribe, the Most High always has scholars. Go on.
The Beni Ephraim descended from the tribes of Israel.
The Beni Ephraim, or the Dalits, the Untouchables, descended from the tribes of Israel. Go on.
Who, in 722 BCE, were exiled from the ancient kingdom of Israel by the Assyrians.
So that's one time period which they made the migration from ancient Assyria. So during 722 AD, when you have Shalmaneser, was exiled the Israelites out of the land of Israel because of the sin of Israel. Ephraim. What happened? Jeroboam. What happened? They were exiled the land. They were kicked out of the land. Right. And we inhabited Media, Assyria, Nineveh, in which Jonah preached to. And guess what? Not all, and then you have one portion of the Israelites, 1/2 or 10 tribes, a mass amount of them migrated to the Western Hemisphere during that same time period. All right? So even before that, right?
Right, yes, sir.
During Solomon's time. So leading up to 539 AD, some Israelites migrated to the Western Hemisphere, to the Americas, and some Israelites migrated to India. Go on.
After their sojourn in Persia, they moved to the northern part of the subcontinent, which was then populated by Dravidian groups. In the 7th century BCE, the subcontinent was conquered by the Aryans.
The Aryans are the light-skinned Indians, the Indians which you see today in the movies. The one that, just like East, and it's the same tactics done in America. What they choose? Push light skin. White skin's the image of beauty.
Try to whitewash
things. They do that in Latin America. They do that everywhere in the continents, all over the world. They do that. Well, to push the image of beauty, to just be light skinned. Not saying our beautiful brothers and sisters light complexion are not beautiful. No, but they always try to downplay and associate darkness with ugly. But when you look at the Dalits, the Untouchables, they're dark pigmented people. But you don't really see them. They don't show that side of India. Just like they don't show the black Mexicans. Just like they don't show the black Brazilians. Just like they don't show the Afrocentric or the Israelite-centric side of us. Go on.
Who established the caste system, and relegated the Dravidians and the Beni Ephraim to the positions of Shudras,
which are slaves. So the Dravidians as well as Ephraim coexisted within the same. We were able to get along with each other. When the Aryan race came over and conquered us, what happened? They enslaved us and placed us into caste system. What do we know that as? You have the caste system in America. We did call it something different. You have upper class, which is what persists mainly of the 1%, making his income a certain level. Then you have the middle class. Then you have the poor class. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians primarily fit in within the poor class. In India, you have the 4 caste systems, which we're going to discuss further in detail. And within the caste system, just like the blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians in the Western Hemisphere, or the Eastern Hemisphere, the Israelites, Ephraim, under the regime of India, fits in at the bottom of the caste system as well. All right, read on.
Who established the caste system and relegated the Dravidians and the Beni Ephraim to the positions of Shudras and the Untouchables, respectively. Both groups were later moved to the south of India, where they now reside. The current state of affairs in the community is explained as an unfortunate result of the further advance of Aryan rule, under which the Beni Ephraim lost their status and political significance.
The Beni Ephraim lost their status in society, Indian society, and their political position. Go on.
Were reduced to poverty.
Read.
And left with very few means of maintaining their tradition. Indeed, almost forgot it.
Indeed, almost forgot who they are. Does that sound familiar? Yes, it does. Same people on this side. We forgot who we are. Go on.
The Yokubis.
Jump down to but.
To the underline?
Yep. To the start of the sentence.
All right. But the
start from the Yokubis.
The Yokubis maintained that their parents and grandparents had been aware of their Israelite origin and had practiced Judaism in secret for a long time.
Didn't we discuss this during the
Yes, sir. With the new Christians, the Morenos, and so forth, during the Spanish Inquisition, same thing we was doing, practicing in secret.
Practicing the customs of Judaism in secret. Why? Because you shun in society, or you put down as a people. Don't. You guys are a hate group, or you're a separatist group. So it was illegal for us to practice our customs. So the grandparents maintained the Israelite culture. How do you think the brother knew to do further research? How do you think he got this information from? Right. Because why? They retain some form of the history. Go on.
The Judaization of the Beni Ephraim has been dismissed by some commentators as an attempt by a former untouchable community to change its members' position in the local hierarchy, or to improve their material circumstances by moving to the state of Israel.
So they think that they will say, you know what? The only reason why they're claiming heritage to Israelites is because they want to uplift their social status. But let's see what the brother says.
But the Yokubis stress that their low caste status had nothing to do with the emergence of the Beni Ephraim.
Their caste status has nothing to do with the emergence of the group that he established in the 1980s. It's always been there, just like they try to downplay us when the truth blossomed in the 1970s. Would they say, oh, you guys learned that for what? The Israelis. You guys adopted the Israeli customs. That's where you got your doctrine. They said from Matthews. What is it? Something Matthews, right? One of the teachers of the early Israelite movement. They say he adopted a lot of the Jewish customs, and then we formed, and because of our social status, we try to uplift ourselves and adopt the Jewish customs to give us some type of form of identity. But he said, no, that's not the case. We've always been Israelites. Now, during this specific time period, the Most High allowed the Spirit to ignite within us to bring this information out. They don't understand God or prophecy. They don't understand the Spirit or the signs of the times. but they will understand. Go on. Is that it?
No, sir. At the same time, Shemuel Yogabi explains that his research and activism towards finding the Israelite connection were partially driven by observing his fellow members' exploitation at the hands of higher castes, embracing the Jewish tradition.
So, just like exploitation from the higher caste system is the same way we're exploited in America, you're going to realize we have very similar attributes, traits, and social status on this side of the world as well as the other side of the world. Because why? We are the same people suffering the same curses under Deuteronomy 28. Showing that we are the Israelites according to the Bible. We are the biblical Jews. So, the Dalits, the Untouchables, just like we have politically, economically, and socially been exploited, degraded, and placed in, like I said, on a bottom society, is the same thing they have suffered in India. So let's go to the book. Let's go to the next book, Dalit, the Downtrodden of India. So Dalit, what does Dalit mean? Dalit is a Sanskrit word. We're going to get into the word. We're going to dissect the people today. In India. So let's go. Page 1.
You have it?
So who are the Dalits today? And what does Dalit mean? Does it have Hebrew association? I'll know it. We're going to find out. Okay.
As soon as he put it up. But Cap, like you said, it's heavy how all the prophecies lined up, no matter what side of the world that we're on. We still suffering and going through the same thing, whether we in India, over here on the side of the world, it don't matter.
Exactly. All right, minimize it a little bit. All right, let's read it.
In the Indian caste system, a Dalit, often called an untouchable, or an outcast, is a person who, according to traditional Hindu belief, does not have any Varna. Varna refers to the Hindu belief that most humans were supposedly created from different parts of the body of the divinity Purusha. The part from which a Varna was supposedly created defines a person's social status with regards to issues such as who they can marry and which professions they could hold. Dalit fall outside the Varna system and have historically been prevented from doing any but the most menial jobs.
So the Dalits fall outside of the Varna system, which we're going to bring up shortly. Now jump down.
Dalit has come to mean things or persons who are cut, split, broken,
or
torn asunder,
read,
scattered,
read,
or crushed,
read.
And
next page. Okay, and what?
And destroyed.
Go on.
By coincidence, there is, in Hebrew, a root, dal, meaning low, weak, poor. In the Bible, different forms of this term have been used to describe people who have been reduced to nothingness or helplessness.
So you would think, why did they choose the name Dalit? Did they know? You think they have knowledge of the word Dalit or the Hebrew association? No, scholars later on did more research into the word, the Sanskrit word. And why will they associate it with themselves? Why would they place that title on themselves? They wouldn't do that thinking, knowing the deepness or the history behind it. The Most High put signs and clues in front of us. So later down the line, we will be able to figure out or identify and separate one people from another people. That's why you can go on a continent and the same people look like each other, and then it'll be one group of people. They'll be like, yo, what's wrong with these people? They're different from everybody else. Why are they going through all these atrocities?
Right.
And then you dissect them scripturally. You say, wait a minute. Whoa. These guys fit the curses to the T. So it says Dalit means cut, split, broken, torn asunder, scattered, crushed, and destroyed. So dal in the Hebrew. Now, can you pull up the Hebrew definition in the Bible Hub? Dal in Hebrew. Listen, just behind the name alone shows you who you are and your history and why these things have been happening to you for centuries. So a lot of times, like I said, we look for answers and we can't find them. And the answers are right before us in our conditions. So the people in India call themselves untouchables, which consists of about 230 million or so. Not only in India do they live, but they live in Yemen. They live in, what else? They live in India, the Yemen, Gujarat. They live in this other, let's see, this, can't recall it, but we'll bring it up later. Sri Lanka, that's what it is, Sri Lanka as well, and other places as well. All right, Dal.
Dow. Dow. Lean. Jump down.
Go down, low.
Wait, right here. Low, weak, poor, thin, especially common in wisdom, literature, and poetry.
Okay, Dal. So it means low, weak, poor, and thin. So it has to do the conditions of the people. So the name is fitting for the conditions in which they fit within the caste system, the Varna. All right, now let's see if that's in the scripture. Let's go to Hosea chapter 5, verse 11.
The book of Hosea, chapter 5, verse 11. Ephraim is oppressed. And
Ephraim is what?
Ephraim is oppressed.
Ephraim is oppressed. So just like the southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, the blacks and the West Indians and Haitians, the Ephraimites, south of the Ephraim, or the Latinos and the Native American Indians in South America, Central America, and North America, as well as the Ephraimites, Ephraim in the Eastern Hemisphere in India. They all are oppressed. Go on.
And broken in judgment.
They're what?
Broken in judgment.
Did not it say Dalit means to be broken, to be oppressed? Ephraim is broken in judgment. They're oppressed. Read.
Because he willingly walked after the commandment. Therefore will I be unto Ephraim as a moth, and to the house of Judah as rottenness.
Now, let's go to Hosea 6, verse 1.
The book of Hosea, chapter 6, verse 1. Come, and let us return unto the Lord, for he hath torn, and he will heal us.
So he has torn. Ephraim also mean, or Dalit also mean to what? To be torn asunder. Just like that, when you look at their conditions today, they have been torn asunder. The jobs that they possess, the menial jobs in which they're relegated to, their social status, their education, the politics, everything concerning their conditions, the social injustice that they suffer, their plight of the people, of the untouchables in India. They're torn asunder. They're oppressed. They're broken. Read on.
He hath smitten, and he will bind us up.
And guess what? God did this. All the adjectives which fit them in the word Dalit or Dal is fitting for the conditions. And guess what? God's the one that placed us in these conditions. God's the one that placed the untouchables or Dalits in India in those conditions. On the bottom society or on the bottom of the caste system. Untouchable meaning not even a part of the caste system. Not to be even touched. Just like in America, black Americans. You see when Bush went to Haiti. When he touched a Haitian, what happened? He was like this.
Damn.
That's what they feel about us. Go on.
Verse 2.
That's it.
That's it.
Isaiah 7, verse 8, showing you that the scriptures coincide with the conditions of the people.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 7, verse 8. For the head of Syria is Damascus, and the head of Damascus is Rezin. And within 65 years shall Ephraim be broken.
And Ephraim shall be what?
Broken.
Ephraim shall be broken, read.
That it be not a people.
That it be not a people. Dalit. Broken or torn asunder. That it be not a people. And that's why when we read earlier, to the point, they've been broken so much. They've been subjugated and relegated to the bottom of the caste system for so long and oppressed for so long that they what? They lost a piece of themselves. They lost who they are. They lost their identity. They've been broken as a people, and their broken spirit is, you can see it within them, the way they carry themselves, the way they walk, the way they talk, the conditions with their placement. They've been broken. Read.
Verse 9. And the head of Ephraim is Samaria.
That's it. Now, let's go to Deuteronomy 28, verse 33.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 3.
33.
33, sorry. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always.
Because the land was primarily inhabited to what? By the Dravidians as well as Ephraim. We had coexisted in the subcontinent of India. But it wasn't until the Aryans later down the line, when they came to North India, conquered the Dravidians as well as Ephraim and relegated into the position of Sudras, which are the laborers or captives or slaves. We became slaves. We became the bottom of the caste system, untouchables in India. And what happened? The northern Indians or the Aryans ate up their land. They took their possession, and we started working for them. So it says, the fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up. The nation was what? The Aryan nation came up and eat up their land. Go on.
So that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thy eyes, which thou shalt see.
And they're mad because they know that land belonged to them at first. They were there before the Aryan race or the Indians in the northern region. Go on.
The Lord shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs.
Verse 33.
The fruit of thy land.
You didn't read the bottom part. And thou shalt only be.
I read again. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always.
And thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always. What do they call them? Meaning cut, split, broken, or torn asunder, scattered, or crushed. Or crushed. You shall only be oppressed and crushed always. It's in the name. The curses are within the name. It's fitting for people in the conditions that they live in today. All right? Zechariah 11, verse 4. You think somebody sat down and read the Bible and said, you know, we're going to call ourselves a Dalit based upon all these scriptures that we're putting together? No.
No, sir. Book of Zechariah, chapter 11, verse 4. Mm-hmm. Thus saith the Lord, my God, feed the flock of the slaughter.
Zechariah chapter 11, verse 14.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 11, verse 14. Then I cut asunder my other staff, even bands, that I might break the brotherhood between Judah and Israel.
So then I cut asunder my other staff. What does Dalit mean? To be torn asunder. To be torn asunder. We were torn. We were cut asunder. His other staff, that's the tribe of Ephraim. All right? Let's go to Deuteronomy 4, verse 27.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 27. Mm-hmm. And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither the Lord shall lead you. Mm-hmm. And there you shall serve gods the work of men's hands, wood and stone.
That's it. So it says, and the Lord shall scatter you among the nations. Dalits, once again, cut, split, broken, or torn asunder, scattered. Scattered. Fitting for the title. Dalit, to be scattered. And God, prophetically speaking, during the time period of Moses, a black man prophesied that the Israelites would be scattered. All right? Now, let's go back to the book. Let's go back to the book, page 21. The four caste systems. The four caste systems. Page 21 and 22. So just like in South Africa, you have the apartheid. In America, you have Jim Crow, black codes, slavery. In India, you have the caste systems. The same plight that we suffered in the Western Hemisphere is the same plight that our brothers and sisters suffer in the Eastern Hemisphere, on the Indian subcontinent, as well as Asia. So not just India alone, as you're going to realize, there's other tribes that we read last time when Dr. Buchanan, when he was questioning our brothers, the Jews of Goshen, the black Jews, the original Jews, the ancient Jews of Goshen, or today, which is modern-day Koshi, and within the conversation, he says, yes, we are the Jews that migrated during the time of 70 A.D. from the destruction of the temple, when Titus and Vespasian conquered Jerusalem, overthrew it. So not only did the Israelites flee to Africa, but you had Israelites that fled or went through the route of the Indus region valley. And they went into India. So that's the history of the Jews of Kosha, or today Koshi. And within the discussion, our brother says, but there's many different other communities on the continent of Asia. One was in Tartary, another was in China. And that's what we're going to go over as well. That's going to be one of the next topics. Going to the Israelites scattered abroad in China. We're everywhere. We're all over the place. When the scripture says the Israelites were scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, this truth is bigger than America.
Right.
And actually, America is going to be destroyed. 2/3 of our people are going to be destroyed. And the way Northern Kingdom is acting in South America and Central America, I knew there had to be something else to the story. I knew there had to be another side of the story. It did not make sense. Now it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Even with the African diaspora, I knew it did not make sense with the Southern Kingdom on this side of the world, because we're so deeply rooted into the system and indoctrinated with and colonized with the Eurocentric ideology and philosophies, to the point when we bring a glass of fresh water, he says, I'd rather drink that dirty mud right there, water.
Dang.
We like that trash right there. We like our conditions. We like to stay here. We like our way of thinking. You bring some truth, and they reject the truth because they're comfortable with themselves. But when you go to the other side of the hemisphere, in Africa, whether it be Sierra Leone, Liberia, Ghana, Uganda, Nigeria, they're very acceptive of the truth. Very receptive of the truth.
They still have good morals.
They still keep hold of the traditional values, the family traditions. They're very respectful. The women are very respectful. They understand their role in the household. The men, they understand their role as a man and in the nation. And when information is displayed, we have conversation, and they do research, and they listen. Unlike here. And guess what? And when the men speak, and when we're talking in Africa, one thing I noticed between America and the Western Hemisphere, the Western culture and the Eastern culture, is when we teach on the streets, the men in Africa are the ones in the forefront.
Okay.
The men in Africa it's all men in the front, attentive, listening, quiet, asking questions, observant. Then you have the women where? In the back with the kids. In the back with the kids, listening, quiet. Then you have a few scragglers that come in, that infiltrators that come into America. Somebody was on Facebook the other day in Africa. They got access to the World Wide Web, and then you see that one black woman that runs her mouth. But when you come to America, it's opposite. You can see the role reversal in your face. Who's in the front usually?
The woman.
The woman's always in the front.
Big black mouth.
Loud. And guess where the men is? In the back. Look, when you guys go to camp, just observe. The men from the women. Who's in the front and who's in the back? Who's doing the discussion? Who's doing the talking? Who's asking the questions? And you ask the men, hey, you have a question? No, I'm just listening.
Yep.
Role reversal. It's crazy. So a lot of people on this side, that's why a lot of people are going to die, because it's too far gone. Too far gone. All right? Let's go to that. Page 21, Indian caste system.
Indian caste system. One of the more confusing mysteries of India is her caste system. The caste system, which exists already for more than 300 years, seems to have been developed by the Brahmins, priests, in order to maintain their superiority.
The Brahmins, the priests. the hierarchy, the 1% of society, placed the caste system on them, just like in America. They placed the high class, upper class, middle class, and lower class. The caste system, same thing, different name. Go on.
Eventually, the caste system became formalized into 4 distinct classes, varnas. At the top are the Brahmins, the priests and arbiters of what is right and wrong in matters of religion and society. Next are the Kshatriyas, who are soldiers, and, next page, administrators. The Vaisyas are the artisans and commercial class. And finally, the Sudras are the farmers and the peasant class. These 4 castes are said to have come from Brahma's mouth, Brahmin, arms, Kshatriyas, thighs, Vaisyas, and feet, Sudras.
Go on.
Beneath the 4 main castes is a 5th group, the scheduled caste. They literally have no caste.
They're not a part of the caste system. Go on.
They are the Untouchables.
They are the Untouchables. Read.
The Dalit,
The Dalit. Read.
which means oppressed, downtrodden, and exploited social group.
Now, give me the image of the 4 caste system.
Wow.
And what do you think they based their caste system about? Their God, Vishnu, Brahim, and Brahma, and Shiva.
Kashitras.
You see? Based on their God, they base the caste system. So you have the Brahmins, the priests and teachers, which is the head, the how you say that?
The Kshatriyas.
The Kshatriyas, the warriors and rulers, the arms, the Vaishyas, the farmers, traders, and merchants, the legs, the Sudras, the feet, and where's the Dalits? We're at the bottom. Where's the black man? At the bottom. You can't make this up. You cannot. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28.
46.
Nope. Verse 43.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high.
The strangers, the Aryans or Elam, that's within you shall get up very high. You see the priests, the Brahmins, the priests and teachers, the Kshatriyas, whatever, the warriors and rulers, the Vaishyas, the farmers, traders, and merchants, the Sudras, the laborer. We didn't consider laborer. We're not even a part of the body of India. We're the scheduled caste. We're not a part of the caste system. We're the untouchables. Read.
And thou shalt come down very low.
And we shall come down very low. To the point that you're not even a part of the system. You're not even on there. You're not even a part of society. You're not even a part of the caste system. So those are the 4 caste systems. All right? Now, go back to the book, the page.
Damn, they call them the street sweepers.
So they are the outcasts. They are the outcasts. Get me Isaiah 11, verse 12. They have no caste, so what are they? They're the outcasts. They cast out of the system. Go on.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 11, verse 12. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations.
And God shall send up an ensign. What is the ensign? The Bible. For the nations of Israel. Go on.
And assemble the outcasts of Israel.
Assemble the what?
Outcasts of Israel.
Because we've been cast out of our land. Now we're servants in other lands where we're not even a part of the system. We're not a part of the caste system. We're not a part of the social class or the social order of society. That's why in India, the Dalits are called the Untouchables. Out of 230 million people, they're called the outcasts, even though they're the economic will of society. Because why? In every major empire, you need a servant class. Right. They are the servant class and which keeps India going. Because why? You need slaves. You need servants in every kingdom to operate. And guess what? They established America that way. They established Europe that way, the modern-day Europe, modern-day America, as well as India. Slaves. Now you're the outcasts. Read that again.
And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth.
It says, step and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel. Now go to verse 11.
Verse 11, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam.
And from what?
Elam.
Elam is India. Iran, India. So, and from Elam, we've been scattered all throughout the Indian subcontinent as well as Asia. So he's going to assemble the outcast. So those of you in India, you are the outcast. That's right. You've been cast out of the land, and you've been relegated to the most menial positions in society where you're not even part of the social class, the social order. You are an outcast, the scheduled class, or you are an untouchable, where even the very look of you, them touching you, is an abomination unto them. Oh, how far have we fallen, Israel? We went from the top to the bottom, from the head to the tail, from high up to low. Let's go back to the book. Page 22.
The Dalit are the collection of all the communities of India who were denied a status in the traditional caste system of India.
So you think you ask yourself a question. How are you able to, now you look at India, you're like, Danny, everybody look alike. Right. That should be your first assumption. Everybody on the subcontinent of India look alike. So how are you able to differentiate the two from each other? Deuteronomy 28, verse 46. That's why you can't adjust. That's why Christ says, judge not according to appearance, but righteous judgment. What's righteousness? The law. Deuteronomy 28 is part of the law of Moses, the curses in which we live every day, the plight of the black Americans, Latinos, Native American Indians, and those scattered throughout the diaspora, whether it be Africa, West Africa, South Africa, East Africa. The Israelites that suffered the curses in the Congo, the Congolese people, or in Europe, England, France, Germany, Russia, Britain. Now we're finding out in India as well as China next. What is the association between, what do we all have in common, the commonality between everyone within these communities? We all suffered the curses of God, which identifies who we are as a people. Read that, Deuteronomy 28, verse 46.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 46. And day shall be upon thee for a sign.
What's the day? The curses of God. Read verse 45.
Verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee.
Moreover, all these curses written in the Bible, and we're going to go more in depth later on. All these curses shall come upon the Israelites, the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. Those call themselves Black Americans, African Americans. Those call themselves Negroes, colored people, West Indians, Haitians, Jamaicans, Trinidadians, Latinos, Latin, Spanish, or a Native American Indian, those scattered throughout the diaspora, or the Untouchables, the Dalits. Go on.
And shall pursue thee and overtake thee.
And the curses of God shall pursue us, whether ready or not, here I come.
Right.
You can't hide.
Ready or not, here I come. I'm trying to help you out, Cap.
Oh, God. Leave the singing to me.
Oh, wow.
It says, in Judah is God known. Hear, Lord, the voice of Judah. So, I forgot my train of thought. Dang, read on.
No, you said
the
curses pursue
you. Yeah, the curses are going to, you can't hide. We're going to find you. Yeah, so, yeah, that wasn't, all right, go on. So,
moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed.
Until you be destroyed. Go on.
Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Because we broke God's commandments is the reason why we've been relegated to these conditions, to subservient conditions. Go on.
To keep his commandments.
And we were supposed to keep the commandments that God gave unto us. Go on.
And his statutes.
And his statutes, read.
Which he commanded thee.
Which God commanded us through the prophet Moses, read.
And they shall be upon thee.
And the curses of God shall be upon the Israelites, whether they be scattered abroad or in the Americas or in India. The curses shall be upon us for what?
A sign.
For a sign. Why are these things happening to us? Why were we placed out of the caste system? Why are we a bottom society? Why have we been suffering? Why have we been relegated to the most menial jobs? Why is there mass incarceration amongst our people, police brutality? Why are we being poisoned through our water and our food? Why are we getting miseducated? These are the questions that we ask every day. Neither your ministers, neither your churches, your leaders, your political activists, neither your educators can answer that question. Nobody has the answer but God. Read.
And for a wonder.
And for a wonder, why? How did these people went from the top to the bottom, from kings and princes, from queens and princesses to niggas, to spics, to untouchables? Read.
And upon thy seed
forever.
forever.
And upon thy seed through generations, generational curse, whether it be from one generation to the next generation. To the year 2020, you think things will get better, but no, things have got worse. And upon thy seed for what?
Forever.
Until the curses have subsided through the revealing of our Messiah. Until the 12 tribes are revived, the tabernacles of David is set up again under Christ, the black Messiah. All right? Now, let's go back to the book.
We still good? The Dalit are the collection of all the communities of India who were denied a status in the traditional caste system of India. They were considered even lower than the lowest caste.
Damn. You're the bottom of the bottom. Go on.
Namely, the Shudras. Gandhi coined the word Harijan.
Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi?
Mahatma Gandhi.
Mahatma Gandhi coined the word Harijan. What is it?
Harijan.
Harijan. Yeah. Excuse us. Go on.
Or children of God.
What did Gandhi coin the word Harijan to mean?
Children of God.
Gandhi, a part of the upper class, called the Dalits, the ones that's relegated, subjected to the most menial jobs, the untouchable. You don't even want to touch it. But Gandhi's supposed to be the spiritual leader of the time period. The political activist Gandhi, the peaceful man, the man of God. He said these people, the Haranjans, the Dalits are Haranjans, which means what?
Children of God.
He called them the children of God. Read.
To collectively address this community. But over a period of time.
Now, to collectively address this community, go on.
But over a period of time, even the word Harijan has been considered derogatory.
They even, listen, even Haranjan is considered derogatory. We call ourselves Israelites, it's derogatory. They says, oh, you are the black Hebrew Israelites. You are a black hate group. It's derogatory, the children of God. That's how much they hate us. Dang. Who are the children? If everybody, the children of God, what did Gandhi know that the rest of society doesn't know? Get that. Romans chapter 9, verse 7.
The book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 7.
1 second, let me get it. Read.
Neither, because they are the seed of Abraham, are they all children.
Because Abraham had different children. He didn't only have Isaac, but Abraham had Ishmael as well as Midian. So it's not either, because Abraham didn't have all races, all ethnicity. He did not. They say Father Abraham had many children. He didn't have the Chinese. He didn't have the Japanese. He didn't have the East Indians. He didn't have the Africans. He didn't have them. He didn't have that. Yeah, he did have the Arabs. He had them. What else am I missing?
That's it.
I got to name all of them. He didn't have the, yeah.
That's it.
Oh, yeah. Well, it came through a seed, yeah. So, not because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children. Read.
But In Isaac shall thy seed be called.
In Isaac shall thy seed be called. In Isaac shall the chosen race come about through the seed, the sperm of Isaac. Go on.
That is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of God.
Keturah's children. Keturah was Midian's.
Right, yes.
And
sir.
who else? Keturah and just slipped my mind. Hagar. Hagar and Keturah's children are not the children of God. Go on.
They which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of God. But the children of the promise are counted for the seed.
But the children of the promise is counted for the seed. They are the children of God. Who are the children of the promise? Read verse 4.
Verse 4. Who are Israelites?
The Israelites are the children of God, which count the seed, the promise. Read.
To whom pertaineth the adoption.
Because the Israelites pertaineth the adoption, adopting Christ. Go on.
And the glory.
And the glory of the kingdom of heaven pertaineth unto the Israelites, which are the children of God. Read.
And the covenant.
And the covenant, the old covenant, the covenant of circumcision pertaining to the children of Israel. The covenant of animal sacrifice and the new covenant under Christ. Go on.
And the giving of the law.
And the laws given to what? Moses, to the Levitical priests, to give it to the Israelites, were given to the Israelites. Go on. The children of God. Go on.
And the service of God.
The service of God were given to the Israelites, not all nations. Read.
And the promise.
And the promise of the kingdom of heaven was given to the Israelites. Read.
Whose are the fathers?
Whose are the fathers? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the prophets. Read.
And of whom as concerning the flesh.
As concerning the flesh, read.
Christ came.
Christ came for the Israelites. The Israelites are the children of God. So when Mahatma Gandhi coined the term Harijas to represent the Dalits or the Untouchables, he knew what we was talking about. The Dalits or the Untouchables are the Israelites in India. And not just there's other different tribes scattered throughout India, but we're dealing with the Dalits today. All right? Let's go to the book. Let's go back to the book.
Gandhi coined the word.
That's it.
That's all you want.
Go to although.
Bring it back up. Although Hindu scholars dispute the relationship of untouchability to Hindu codes, the rigid caste system prevalent in India denied social status and civil amenities.
Social status and civil amenities. What do we have in the 60s? What was it called? The
Civil rights.
The civil rights. And guess what? Joe Biden the other day, this pushed he didn't pass it as an executive order, but he's looking to put in policy or in place to the renewal of the Voters' Right Act, which was established under Martin Luther King or the Civil Rights Movement. You guys don't realize that Bishop always talked about it. Mm-hmm. The Voting Right Act is almost up. I think it's every 20 or 30 years.
Every 25 years.
Every 25 years, the Voting Rights Act has to be renewed. And guess what? Joe Biden is going to try to put it in place, try to pass it through Congress for the Voters' Right Act to be renewed, showing you blacks are not free. You have a Caucasian man or white man has to renew your right to vote, showing that you are not a citizen. They did not alter, neither did they change the American Constitution. And in fact, they created a more intellectual system of slavery by another name, in which they replaced chattel slavery or mass incarceration under the 13th Amendment. Slavery is abolished, except if you are locked up or have committed a crime. Mm-hmm. So show you that the prison institution, American prison institution, and mass incarceration primarily consisting of blacks and Native American Indians, as well as Latinos, in which we dominate.
Yeah, we dominate.
We dominated. are still slaves. That's why they hire you. Or they had I forgot what did they call it during the Jim Crow era or the Black Codes era. They had convict leasing. Convict leasing. You have a corporation will lease prisoners to do the work on their field. They'll do cotton picking, they'll do garbage picking. Today they do it. They have what? They do a lot of these materialistic things we have, these computers things, you have the prisoners doing it. They have prisoners doing the work of these corporations for free or for pennies a day. Because why? Slavery by another name. And guess how much they get paid? Slave wages. And America is about 5% of the world's population, but consists of 23% of the prison population globally. Black Americans consist of 13% of America, about 48 million people, approximately 48 million people. So out of the 48 million Black Americans, which represents 13% of American population, make up the vast majority of the prison population. Something's wrong. And Latinos, something's highly wrong. The system is rigged, and that's why it's called slavery by another name. But let's go back on topic. I forgot why we went there. Social status, yes. Read on. Civil amenities, that's right.
Yes, sir.
But the rigid caste system, go to that.
To the rigid caste system, to a class who were poor and took up menial professions. No, the rigid caste system prevalent in India denied social status and civil amenities to a class who were poor and took up menial professions, such as cleaning and washing.
What do you see Latin Americans do? Cleaning and washing. In the hotels, cleaning and washing. Same jobs. Go on. You know, Judah, I don't think Judah does that, do they?
Cleaning and washing? Nah, Judah. Nah, you
Judah
ain't
nasty. Well, Northern Judah. Southern Judah's good. They good.
No, yeah, Southern Judah.
Yeah, they got
good.
hospitality.
Southern Judah.
I don't mean to, you got some sisters in the North, but primarily the South. They retain that, the traditions somewhat.
Some sisters in the North, just some.
Some. Judah, we're going to get it together. Sisters, we're going to get it together. We're going to get it together. Go on.
In various parts of India, it was considered unholy to even touch the Dalit.
Oh, yo, it was unholy. It was a religious law instituted. And these people believe in God. It was unholy to touch a Dalit. Go on.
Hence, the name, as Prashaya, are untouchable. And the Dalit could not use the same public facilities.
They couldn't use the same public facilities.
Wow, Cap, that sound like you said, Jim Crow. Jim
Crow.
With the only colors only, whites only.
Let's bring up pictures of Jim Crow. Colors only, white only. Read that again. Yeah, you got it. No, you got it. We got the book.
In various parts of India, it was considered unholy to even touch the Dalit. Hence the name as Prashaya, are untouchable. And the Dalit could not use the same public facilities, such as well or a restaurant frequented by the upper caste.
Wait, such as what?
Frequented by the upper caste.
What in restaurant?
Oh, such as well or a restaurant.
Oh, it says well, right?
Such as a well.
What is a well? Water. They couldn't use the same wells or in the same restaurant. Bring that up. Okay. The other picture. Yep, that one. Damn. Why the black man gotta have the smaller?
That joint. Oh, wow.
That thing, oh gosh. You can't even fit between it. The dirty corner. Look at that. You can see it? Read that part again. Keep that up.
In various parts of India, it was considered unholy to even touch the Dalit. Hence the name, as Prashaya, are untouchable. And the Dalit could not use the same public facilities, such as well or a restaurant, frequented by the upper caste.
You see that? They cannot use the same facility, the same well, water fountains, or go in the same restaurant. That's why you have white water fountain and color water fountain. You have white bathroom, you have colored bathroom. Or even a restaurant. I'm not sure. What is the show? Man, this is the show I was watching. Man, I think the Umbrella Academy. When the sister in the Umbrella Academy, the sister went back into time. And then she went back during the Civil Rights movement, when the Civil Rights was happening. So you had a group, a political group that they gathered together weekly, and they wanted to make a statement to rise up the people. So within that, so they decided on this day, Jake gathered together at the barbershop. They decided this day we're going to go into this white-only restaurant. So they went into the white-only restaurant. People spat on them. They poured water on them, hot water, tea on them, coffee on them. They poured ketchup on them. They called them all types of names. Because, wow, blacks cannot use the same restaurant. And that's the psychology. That shows you that Willie Lynch syndrome, or that, what do they call it? They call it Stockholm syndrome. Why do you want to use the same restaurant?
Go get your own.
Get your own. Listen, Edomite restaurants in comparison to Jake restaurants, you can't compare the two. Just the flavors, the spices. Right. Everything about Jake food. But you want to use a white restaurant? No flavor. They fought. They got spat on. Some got killed. Someone got raped for the cause. Just to eat chicken with no seasoning. Just to eat right with no salt. Just to eat bread with no butter. Just to eat plain food.
That's what we were fighting for.
You were fighting for that. You was fighting to use the same toilets so you can get fleas. So you can get ticks. So you can get, crabs. That's what you want to use? Lice. You fought for that? To use the same wash sink where they don't even wash their hands. Listen, I observed them. I looked at them. I should see them. They walk in, do the business, and walk out. I looked at them. Nasty. Don't even wash their hands. And guess what? They tried to shake my hand after. I said, absolutely not. I said, absolutely not. I said, go back and wash your nasty hands. You filthy, disgusting person. Where are we? So it says, untouchables. It was unholy to even touch them. Get me Lamentations 3, verse 45. And then pull up the Blue Letter Bible. You know what I want, right? Refute. Yep. Lamentations 3, verse 45.
You want 245, right? That's what you have here.
Yes, sir. I think, yep, that's it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me get it. Okay, all right. Read that.
Lamentations chapter 3, verse 45.
Go on.
Thou hast made us as the offscouring, scouring, and refuse in the midst of the people.
So let's go on.
All our enemies have opened their mouth against us.
So all our enemies have opened their mouth against us. That has made us the offscouring or refuse of the people. What's that word refuse mean?
Refuse. To refuse, go down. Wait, go back up. Perhaps be distasteful, compared. Go up, go back up.
Okay, that's not.
Go to Google. Go to
Mm-hmm.
You just want the meaning?
Yeah.
Yeah, go to Google, dictionary.com.
Okay, no. Go to Blue Letter Bible. Refuse. I thought I sent that to you. Go to Lamentations 3. 45. Okay, click it. Go to back down, refuse. Click that. That's what I want. All right. Go on. Define it.
Refuse. Trash. Let's say right here.
Yeah. That's it. Trash. That's why they call you untouchable. Because they look at you as trash. Read Lamentations 3:45 again.
The book of Lamentations, chapter 3, verse 45. Thou hast made us as the outscouring, and refuse in the midst of the people.
That's made us the trash, the untouchables in the midst of the people. Go on.
All our enemies have opened their mouths against us.
And they says it's an unholy thing to even touch you. It's an unholy thing to even touch you. Now let's go back to the book. Page 23. Now, so looking at the social status. Now, when you look at them, because one thing I mentioned earlier, we can't get me where it says Christ said, judge not according to the appearance. John chapter 7, verse 24, I believe. That should be it. Because it has to come to a time period where you can't look at the world through one dimension. You got to open up your eyes. Really open up your eyes to what the Bible is saying and not looking at things with just one eyes. No, the Most High has opened up our spirit to see things through God's eyes, through the prophecies. We must have spiritual discernment. Look at a people and say, look at the direct association between the two and the Bible. Do these people fit the curses? Because people, you have Israelite communities that are quick to deny some brothers and sisters. Oh, no, these guys are not the Israelites. These guys are not the Israelites. How can only black Americans be Israelites? And people in the Western Hemisphere, when 2/3 are going to die.
Right.
It says we're the sand of the sea, only 2/3. So only people in America. No. Your eyes have not, spiritual eyes have not been opened up to the other side of the world. Now we're going to open your eyes. Read that.
The book of John, chapter 7, verse 24. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment.
Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Judge according to the law of Moses. Judge according to Deuteronomy 28, verse 15 to 68. Judge according to the curses, which shall be a sign upon thee and a wonder upon thy seed forever. Let's go to Revelation. Chapter 7. Because remember earlier, it said in Deuteronomy 4, verse 27, it said, and you should be scattered amongst all the nations. It should be left few in number. When you scatter amongst a nation and held captive under, what do you think historically happened? Our women were raped. Or not only that, but we assimilated into society and we gave our women to the men. And then the men started marrying the women. This happened throughout the different time periods through Assyrian captivity. That's why you have a lot of the Native American Indians retain a lot of the attributes that you see in Persia or India with the straight hair as well, even as a skin tone. You see the direct correlation between the two. Or they'll say they're Asian. No. The scripture says, judge not according to the appearance, but righteous judgment. Judge according to the curses in which they fit into. You can't fit a so-called Irishman in Ireland, white Irish people, into the curse. You can't fit the German, so-called German, the German white Germans. You can't fit the white Russians into the curses. You can't fit the northern people of India into the curses. You cannot fit everybody into the curses. The curses fit who they are because the people that fit the curses are the people of the curse. Go on.
The book of Revelation, chapter 7, verse 9. After this, I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations, and kindreds, and people, and tongues, stood before the throne.
While it says, this is John the Revelator speaking. And after he says, of all which no man, he says, after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, because why? Hosea 1:10 says, Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered nor measured. In the book of Genesis chapter 13, verse 15, when he said unto Abraham, until I see your seed shall be as the stars of heaven, if a man could number them, that cannot be numbered. So the Israelites number the sand of the seas. The Israelites number the stars of heaven. A census cannot number us. You cannot fit us in a box. We outnumbered the whole earth. You cannot figure us out. If you have, then the whole world would have gone to destruction. You have obtained God level, God status. Your satellites can't number all of us. Okay, you got some of us in the jungles. You can't capture that. You got the crazy Ashites in the jungles. Try to come after them, and they'll kill you. You can't number us. Shoot, you don't even know what all the Israelites are. We're telling you who they are. Ain't nothing you can do about it. That's a sad thing. Right. They're watching us, got us on FBI list, but they can't stop us. That's the sick thing about it.
It's crazy.
Like, how can you got billions and trillions in the world superpower, but you can't stop it? Because that's something we can't stop. That's something.
Somebody help us out. Help us out.
No, that's not it.
Yeah, right.
Oh, damn. No, that's not it. Wrong song? All right.
Wow.
I'll fall back on that song. We're going to have a talk with you later. You got spirits on you, brother. Huh? Oh, well, that's a remix. Jacob's the form of all things. You forgot that.
We appreciate you, though.
Thank you. Go on.
Of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues stood before the throne and before the
So it
Lamb.
says, of all nations, because Israel was scattered into all nations, all kindreds, all and people, and tongues. They speak. Someone's going to speak Hindu. Someone's going to speak Kannada. Someone's going to speak the language of Tamil. Now, jump to verse 14.
Verse 14.
That's what I want.
13.
13. Yes, 13.
And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, what are these which are arrayed in white robes? And whence came they? And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said to me,
He said, Sir, even John the Revelator. John the Revelator, given all mysteries and prophecies, seeing in the future, prophetically seeing the people gathered together with Christ, scattered through all nations, people, kindreds, and tongues, couldn't discern his own people. Why? Because throughout process of time, the people will assimilate through the various cultures in which they were kept captive under, and will assimilate and take on the attributes, the characteristics, and the features, the facial features, and the hair textures of the people which enslaved them. Just like some blacks, the hair is finer than others. That's why you have. That's why you have Latinos on the South America as well as Central America. That's why when you look at them, who do they reflect?
They reflect the
Spaniards,
right?
The people which enslaved them, the mestizos. Captivity. You take on the features, the characteristics, the traits, and the hair textures of the people that enslaved you. Because why? It was a custom. They mix in with us. They mingle with us. They diluted us. So that's you take on the physical attributes. Now you have some blacks, Israelites, that stay behind in African diaspora within the Western Africa or the Gold Coast, or Negro land, which we mainly inhabited, even though we were in East Africa, even though we was in South Africa, different places within those regions. But some was mixed in with them, and that's why some of us have their attributes. Because you go some places in Ghana or Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Liberia, you see the difference between the two. You see the difference between a Nilotic tribe or a Semitic tribe. You know, some of them Nigerians got the big old Kool-Aid looking heads. Right, yeah. You could tell, and they got the ashy looking skin. But when it comes to Jake got that lush, shiny, naturally oiled skin. You could tell Jake always shiny, got oils for no reason. So you could tell the difference. You're like, oh, that's a Jake, that's a Semite. And our sisters, you can tell the African sisters, the big plates, the big earlobes, long necks. Jake ain't doing that. It'll be in our spirit like, nah, I ain't messing with that. Nah, I ain't going that far in assimilation. So there's spiritual restrictions that won't go all the way. So you can even tell the differentiation. So even amongst the other continents, it's going to be the same thing. All right. So John couldn't differentiate the two. Now let's go back to the book, page 23.
The Dalit were the original inhabitants of India and resembled the African in physical features.
Read that again.
The Dalits were the original inhabitants of India and resembled the African in physical features.
Because they didn't lose all of their features. They retained a portion of it. And retain, it says, and of India, and resemble the African in physical features. Now go down.
So both the Africans and the Indian untouchables.
When it says Africans, it's making reference to the Israelites. Both the Israelites, they call Africans because they call all black people African. Go on.
And tribals had common ancestors.
Had what?
Common ancestors.
Had what?
Common ancestors.
So both the Africans, or which are really the Israelites, and the Indian untouchables and tribals had common ancestors.
Wow.
Had common ancestors. What happened? What happened? Now, let's go to the scriptures. What happened? Now, this was similar throughout the various captivities. This happened in the Persian captivity as well. So we started mixing in all the way going back to the time period of Esther. So that's why you have the southern kingdom retained a lot of their traits, the physical features that we had within the land. So that's why when you look at the war relics, when you look at the images, the wall mosaics, you say, that's black people. That's me. That's you. That look like Lionel Richie. So you can see the direct correlation between the two people, the Jews as well as black people in America. You say, wow, we are the same people. But when it comes to the other tribes, it's hard to associate them with the original features of what we had in the land, because of years and centuries and millenniums of racial mixing. And it happened all the way there during the time of the Persian captivity. We mixed with Elam. So what do you think is going to happen today? They're going to lose a lot of their physical features. So what did I ask for? Oh, give me Ezra, chapter 9, verse 1.
The book of Ezra, chapter 9, verse 1. Now, when these things were done, the princes came to me, saying, the people of Israel and the priests and the Levites have not separated themselves from the people of the lands, doing according to their abominations, even of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Amorites. For they have taken of their daughters for themselves.
We taken our daughters for ourselves. We took the daughters of the other nations for ourselves during the Persian captivity. Read.
And for their sons.
And for their sons. We gave our sons to the other nations' daughters. Read.
So that the holy seed have mingled themselves with the people of those lands.
So the holy seed mingled ourselves with the people of those lands. So each captivity, we mingled ourselves with the captors of those lands, with our slave masters. We mingled ourselves. We intermarried with them. Now, jump to verse 7.
Verse 7. Since the days of our fathers have we been in a great trespass unto this day, and for our iniquities have we.
So Ezra said this is a great trespass. Read.
Our kings and our priests been delivered into the hand of the kings of the lands.
We've been delivered into the hand of the kings of the land, just like in America, South America, the West Indian Islands, all throughout the captivities. We've been delivered into the hand of the kings of the land. Read.
To the sword.
To death.
to captivity,
to slavery,
and to spoil,
and to spoil.
and to confusion of face.
Why does it say confusion of face? Why does it say confusion of face? Why? Anybody know? Yes.
Because they look different.
Like, who do they look like?
They look like other nations.
Yes, exactly. The confusion of faces. They looked like the kings of the land. They looked like the people in which they were kept captive under. That's why it says confusion of faces. It's going to be hard to differentiate the holy seed from the other nations because of the intermixing, the intermingling. So it's like it's the confusion of faces. Now we associate this people, even though the Israelites, to the captors.
Right.
Confusion of faces. Read.
As it is this day.
Even to this same day. History repeats itself. We live in the same time under new laws, under new captors, and different clothing. Now, get me a tribute for the Negro. A tribute for the Negro. Why again that? Get Esther chapter 2, verse 5. Let's get that.
The book of Esther, chapter 2, verse 5.
Okay, go on.
Now, in Shushan the palace, there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite,
Go on.
who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity, which had been carried away with Jeconiah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother, and the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter. So it came to pass, when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan the palace, to the custody of Haggai, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house, to the custody of Haggai, keeper of the women.
So this is Queen Esther that was brought to the king's house. All right? Go to verse 10 now.
Verse 10. Esther had not showed her people nor her kindred.
Esther had not showed her people nor her kindred. Meaning she didn't dress herself up, or she was able to camouflage or fit in.
Yeah, okay.
What are you saying?
No, like disguise or...
Yeah, disguise herself to look like who? The Elamites, the Persians. So showing you that what? We had certain features that look like the other nation. Israel retains also, in addition to us intermingling, Israel retains a lot of features of the other nations also. Go on.
Esther had not showed her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai charged her that she should not show it.
So Esther could blend in amongst the Persians to the point to which that he couldn't even tell the difference between Esther and the other Elamites. So our people blend in with the other nations as well. All right? So now let's go to the book, A Tribute for the Negro.
The Jews, however slightly their features, may have assimilated to those of other nations, amongst whom they are scattered. From the causes already stated, certainly formed a very striking example as regards the uncertainty of perpetuity and color. Descended from one stock and prohibited by the most sacred institutions from intermarrying with the people of other nations.
It was prohibited for us to intermarry with the people of the other nations. Go on.
And yet dispersed according to the divine prediction.
Dispersed. We were scattered according to the prophecy in Deuteronomy 4, verse 27. Go on.
Into every country on the globe.
We were scattered into every country on the globe. Read.
This one people is marked with the colors of all.
We're marked with the what?
Colors of all.
We're marked with what?
Colors of all.
We look like everybody. The Israelites, the Jews, are marked with the colors of all. You cannot tell the difference sometimes between the people of that land with the Jews. Because why? We mixed in with them. We marked with the colors of all. That's why the curses distinguish the two from each other. Go on.
Fair in Britain and Germany.
So in some fair in Britain and Germany, they were fair. The Israelites. Read.
Brown in France.
In France, the Israelites were brown. Read.
And in Turkey.
And in Turkey. Read.
Swarthy.
Swarthy. Black.
In Portugal and in Spain.
In Portugal and Spain. Read.
Olive.
Olive. Black.
In Syria and Egypt.
And Syria and Egypt. We're not talking about green olive. You got the olive tree? That's the olive tree right there? Yeah, right? Yeah, bring that over here.
Nah, that's perfect.
Yeah. Bet you I was offside. Bring that. And what is that? What is that again?
Olive. In Syria and in Chaldea.
Olive in Syria and Chaldea. You got 3 colors of olive. You got dark brown or black, brown, or green. I never saw a green person before. Can you see it? Can you wait, come up? Can you see it? Yeah, yeah. Can you zoom in? Let me show you. For you olive people. I'm this olive right here.
Christians.
You that olive.
That's me? Yeah. Oh, all praises. Christians like to say Christ was
see
olive
it?
color.
All right. You got, they say an olive, right? You got dark olive, very dark, almost black. You got brown olive, and then you have green olive. Now, if you could find me a green person on this earth without coloring them or spray painting them, I'll give you $5. You know, I said $5 because, you know, brother broke. You know, they'll find somebody. They might soak somebody in some like green dye, some stuff like, yo, I found one. So, you know, you got to make it $5. Right. You know, when that stimulus comes in, then we'll make it 10. I'll step it up a notch.
You gotta make the bet according to your substance.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Different wages from different incomes.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, so it says olive in Syria and in Chaldea. Tawny or copper color in Arabia.
Tawny means what? Black, brown, right?
Yes, sir.
And copper color, brown. Read.
In Arabia and in Egypt.
In Arabia and Egypt. Read.
Wow, they are black at Congo in Africa.
And the Congolese people, those that suffer under the regime of King Leopold, the Jews there are black. Read.
The researchers of Dr. Pritchard have dispelled many of the ideals formerly entertained with respect to the general persistency of color and features in the human race, especially of color, on which the greatest stress has been laid. And some particular states of the Constitution.
That's it. That's all I want. So, showing you the reason why they look that way is because they mixed in with the other people. They retain their features, their physical features, but still had similar features to the original inhabitants or descendants of the 12 tribes. So it's not 100%. They went that way, but not all fully converted over. Now, let's go to the next part. Dalit Panther movement, the Panthers. Let's go to the Black Panthers. So you have the 1960s or the turbulent 60s where black activists or the Black Power movement and in Black America disrupt the social order of America when you have the Civil Rights Movement with Dr. Martin Luther King. Under Christianity, you have Malcolm X, all right, under the Nation of Islam. You also had the Black Panther movement under Huey P. Newton. You had Fred Hampton and Bobby Seale. Bobby Seale, all right? Now, can we get the pictures? So the Black Panther movement was established in Oakland, California, October 15th, 1966. All right, go down. Now let's go to the Young Lords. So after the Black Panther movement, you have the Young Lords, which consist of the Puerto Ricans, were inspired and followed afterwards. So the Young Lords, after the Black Panther movement established in 1966 of October, followed the Young Lords, which is the tribe of Ephraim, so-called Puerto Ricans, in September 23rd, 1968. The founder is Jose Chacha Jimenez. You know, it's Northern Kingdom where they had cha-cha. They can't help it.
Yeah,
Cha-cha,
somewhere-
bachata,
somewhere in there.
merengue, salsa. They can't help it. They got to shake their hips. Yeah,
They gotta shake their hips.
Yeah, the rebellion. They said, so you see, the tribe of Ephraim in 1968. Now, let's go to the American Indian movement. Founded by Dennis Banks, Russell Means, and Clyde Betancourt. In 1968, also in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So you notice how it started with what? Judah. Then it went to Ephraim, Judah, and Israel. So this is the American Indian movement. Like I said, established in July 1968 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So now, the last movement. Let's go to the Dalit Panthers of India. Established during 1972. Give me the first image.
Yeah, this is crazy.
you can't escape. You cannot escape it.
Wow.
And you see it was done consecutively. 1966, 1968, 1968, 1972. Now, it took longer to go to the other side of the world because you're on the other side of the world. It happened in 1972, the Dalit Panther movement. Now, go to the next image.
There's no doubt that we're the same people, man.
Okay, you can do that. All right, you see? No, I don't. Yeah, all right, let's use it anyway. Black Lives Matters, Dalit Lives Matters. Look at it. Same people fighting for the same rights. Now go to the next picture. These are the founders of the Dalit Panther movement. The next picture. Yep. Enlarge that. Look what are they doing? What are they doing? The fists in the air. What are they doing? The fists in the air. Now, let's go to the video. History of the Dalit Panthers.
(1972), India's 25th year of independence. Then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's call for celebrations was in sharp contrast to the Ilaya Perumal Committee report in Parliament, which revealed the shocking extent of atrocities against Dalits across the country. The Dalit Panthers emerged as a reaction to this violence inflicted by the upper castes and injustice meted out by the state. World over, it was a period of ferment. The Vietnam War, Civil Rights Movement, the Black Power movement in the US, and our own Naxalbari movement. Taking their cue from the Black Panther movement in the US, a group of writers and poets in Mumbai, Namdev Dhasal, J.V. Pawar, Raja Dhale and Arjun Dangle, came together to form the Dalit Panthers.
We formed the Dalit Panther on the basis of Black Panther. Black Panther was that time very aggressive movement in America and South Africa. Many of those leaders, they were behind the bars. When we have started Dalit Panther, Black Panther almost all, it was finished. Some of us, like Raya Dhale, Namdev Dhasal, we were writers. We were writing that we should fight for our people to fight against the atrocity. But in the year 1970, if you find, every day there was some atrocity cases. So we decided why only to write only, why we should not come into the street, and accordingly we have decided to form some organization who can fight for the upliftment or the atrocity against the Dalits. So this Dalit Panther organization was formed on 29th May 1972 in the street itself.
The Republican Party of India set up by Babasaheb Ambedkar had split into many factions after his death and had a pro-Congress slant. But the youth were attracted to the Panthers for their militant and aggressive stance towards caste atrocities, which were quite rampant at the time, just like now. Besides lynching and murders, 2 Dalit women were paraded naked for drawing water from a well in Maharashtra's Parvani district. On 12th August 1972, Ramdas Narnavre, a Dalit farmer in Nagpur, was brutally murdered by caste Hindus to appease a goddess. Condemning the atrocities, marches and rallies were organized in Mumbai by the Panthers. Raja Dhale's article pointing out that disrespecting the national flag attracted more stringent punishment than disrobing a Dalit woman stoked the flames of rebellion in many Dalit youths across Maharashtra. In September 1974, when the Gawai brothers had their eyes gouged out by upper caste Hindus in Akola district, they came to the Panthers for justice. The Panthers managed to get a meeting with Indira Gandhi while she was on an official visit to Mumbai, resulting in fresh charges being filed against the accused under the Indian Penal Code.
That time, anywhere, if the atrocity happened, we used to go by in thousands, and they got the assurance that somebody is there to protect us, somebody is there to hear us, somebody is there to take our side.
The Panthers made extensive use of literature and poetry to express horrors like untouchability and other caste atrocities, giving rise to a new genre of Ambedkarite literature which was infused with realism. They structured their ideology with elements from Ambedkar, Buddhism, and Marxism. In their manifesto, they expanded the definition of Dalit to include anyone who was oppressed, from workers to the landless to women. A critical event in the Dalit Panther history was the Lok Sabha by-elections for the Worli-Naigaon constituency. It was a 3-way contest between the Congress.
So it's just a little bit of history, a video of the founder himself. All right? Like, as you can see, they were inspired by Judah. Let's go to the book page. I don't think I gave this to you. Did I give this to you? In the book, let's see. Page 2, I believe. Yes, let's go to page 2 in the book. Mm-hmm. Then page 25 afterwards.
By coincidence,
During the 1970s.
during the 1970s, the followers of the Dalit Panther movement of Maharashtra gave currency to the term Dalit as a constant reminder of their age-old oppression.
Gave currency. I mean, it made it popular. Coined it. He made it popular. Brought it to light even more of the age-old oppression. Go on.
Denoting both their state of deprivation and the people who are oppressed. This term for them is not a mere name or title. For them, it has become an expression of hope.
To them, it's become an expression of hope. Read on.
The hope of recovering their past self-identity.
The hope of recovering their what?
Past self-identity.
The hope of recovering their what?
Past self-identity.
Why would they have to recover their... Wait, if they're Indians, right?
Right.
Think about it. If they're Indians, why would they have to recover their past self-identity? If they're the same people. Because they know they're not the same people. Get that real quick. Deuteronomy 32, verse 26. This is why they have to recover their self-past identity. Deuteronomy 32, verse 26.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 26. I said, I will scatter them into corners. I will make the remembrance of them to cease from among men.
Because they forgot who they are. God said, I will scatter you into corners. I will make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. And that's why it says, the hope of recovering their past self-identity. They forgot who they were. They forgot where they came from. They forgot the land. They forgot Jerusalem. That's why David said, if I forget, O Jerusalem, let my tongue cling to the cleft of my mouth.
Right.
Let my harp turn into mourning. Because why? The Israelites forgot their song. They forgot the Bible. They forgot their nature. They forgot their God. They forgot their tribes. Now look at them. Now look at us. How far we've fallen. Get Jeremiah 17, verse 4.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 17, verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee.
So it says, and thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thy heritage which I gave you. They forgot. That's why they said the hope of recovering their past self-identity, because God discontinued us from our heritage because we broke his laws, statutes, and commandments that he gave us. Go on.
And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in my anger.
And that's why you serve in India, because you kindled the anger of God. You broke God's laws. You broke the covenant of God. All right? Now let's go back to the book. Go to page 25. Star.
You have it?
Page 25. Okay, 1 second.
Yeah, so what Cap is bringing out, he's showing that we have our people also scattered amongst these other nations, and we're suffering, and they're suffering the same atrocities as we suffered on this side. All right, as you see, we had a Black Panther movement. They had a Black Panther movement. All right, so our people, and as you see, they at the bottom, as we are at the bottom over here. They suffering Jim Crow as well as we did on this side also. So showing you that the curses line up wherever we are scattered. All right, we cannot escape it. All right, we cannot escape.
Okay. Start.
Dalit. In post-independent India sought new avenues of liberation, which became a part of the Dalit theology. One of the best instances of this new wave of Dalit liberation movement was the Dalit Panther movement in Maharashtra, which made popular the use of the term Dalit. Further, there was a rise in the Dalit literature in 1960s.
It was a rise in Dalit literature in the 1960s. The turbulent 60s. What's the association with the 60s? Why? Because Elijah came back during that time period. The Spirit of God was on the earth to awaken the Israelites. And carnally, we were awoken through different movements, civil rights movements, the Nation of Islam. But the Israelite hasn't, as of yet, really made made ourselves known until later on. So you have a lot of these political activists, black power movements that rose up first and foremost. Read.
Further, there was a rise in the Dalit literature in 1960s. Black American literature immensely influenced Dalit literary movements.
Why? Let's go to Genesis 49. Why did Black American literature influence Dalit literary movements? Why did a Dalit rise up in a literature revolution in the 1960s? Genesis 49.
The book of Genesis, chapter 49. You can go straight to verse 8.
Start at verse 9.
Verse 9. Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey. My son, thou art going up.
So Judah is a lion's whelp. Like a young lion during the 1960s, Judah rose up against the oppressive regime of America and started choking the system for civil rights, equal opportunity. That's why you have Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement, as well as the Black Panthers, the Black activists, and many other different groups. Nation of Islam under Malcolm X rose up to choke the system to gain some type of root rights. Read.
Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up.
From the prey, my son, thou go up. We attacked the political system. The Black Panther movement attacked them. They read them the rights. They knew their rights. They protected the people to establish some type of social justice. Some of you saw the movie Black Messiah. And the Black Messiah and Judas.
Judas and the Black
Judas
Messiah.
and the Black Messiah. We had Fred Hampton.
Right.
When they established the food program, we fought for black rights. Go on.
He stooped down. He couched as a lion.
That's them stupid down, ready to attack, ready to get rights, ready to put their place in society. Go on.
As an old lion.
As an old lion. Why? That's when a lot of Judites were locked up for the activism. They disbanded. They killed Martin Luther King. They killed Malcolm X and with that movement. And like I say, they locked up Huey P. Newton. They killed Fred Hampton. And a lot of the leaders during the, like I said, the Black Power movement during the 1960s, a lot of our leaders were killed off, or some actually went to drugs or given jobs. So like a young lion, they what?
Who shall rouse him up?
And that's Christ. Christ is the one that's going to rise us up. Now let's go to Ezekiel 37, verse 1.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 37, verse 1. The hand of the Lord was upon me, and carried me out in the spirit of the Lord, and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones, and caused me to pass by them round about.
So the prophet Ezekiel was in a valley full of bones, and God caused him to pass around about it. Read.
And behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry.
And they were very dry. The valley of dry bones represents the Israelites in a decayed estate. The Israelites without an identity, not knowing who they are, not knowing where their land is, not knowing who their God is, not knowing what tribes they belong from, not knowing their heritage. Very dried. We're dried up in a dead state, in a decayed state. The Israelites are the valley of dry bones. Read.
And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live?
And he said unto Ezekiel, Son of man, can these bones live? Can my people revive? Can they be restored back to the present state, the former state? Read.
And I answered, O Lord God, thou knowest.
The conditions of our people, Ezekiel says, only you know, God. Read.
Again he said unto me, Prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord.
O ye dry bones, you blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, and scattered throughout the diaspora in Africa and India and China, hear the words of God. Hear the words which are speaking to you right now. Read.
Thus saith the Lord God.
Thus saith God. Read.
Unto these bones.
Unto you Israelites, you dried Israelites, dried up in Christianity, dried in Islam, dried in Hinduism, dry in Mormonism, dry in Jehovah's Witness, dried in all these false ideologies and religions. Read.
Behold.
Dried in politics, dried in the educational system. Read.
Behold, I will cause breath to enter into you.
We will cause life to enter into you. Read.
And ye shall live.
And you shall live once again. Read.
And I will lay sinews upon you.
And sinews will be laid upon us. The flesh, you'll be able to identify yourself. Read.
And I will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and you shall live, and you shall know that I am the Lord.
So when the sinews and the flesh and skin came upon us, this is during the 1960s, or they call it the turbulent 60s, which you have the various groups, whether it be Martin Luther King under the movement under Christianity, or Malcolm X under the fruit of Islam, Nation of Islam, or you have the Black Panther movement. That's when we start to stand up for justice, stand up for our people. We start Black Power movement because why? We start to claim our identity, start to find love in self, start to love ourselves, empower ourselves, so to identify ourselves. So that's what the skin come on upon us, the flesh come upon us during the 1960s. Us come to some form of nationalism. Read.
Verse 7. So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied, there was a noise, and behold, a shaking, and the bones came together, bone to his bone. And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came up upon them, and the skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them.
There was no breath. There was no laws. That's why all the movements fell. That's why all the activists fell. Martin, Malcolm, Huey P. Newton, Fred Hampton, Bobby Seale. All of our brothers and sisters that fought for justice started falling one by one. Read.
Then said he unto me, prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, thus saith the Lord God, come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain, that they may live.
So we're not only physically slain, but spiritually slain. Slain in the different ideologies, killed in America, killed wherever our people reside, in the different philosophies and religions. Can you live? That's the question. Can we be revived? Can we be restored? So that's why we prophesy. Read.
So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived, and stood upon their feet, an exceeding great army.
And that's what we're doing today. We're prophesying the breath of life. What is the breath of life? The laws, statutes, and commandments. Being revived back to our former state as the Israelites. Whether you live in America, so-called African Americans, the blacks, the children of the slave trade, the West Indians of the West Indian Islands, whether you be Jamaican, Barbados, Trinidad, whether you be Haitian, whether you be Latino, whether you be from Central or South America or scattered throughout the diaspora in Africa and Europe or India, we are the Israelites according to the Bible. And we got to keep God's laws. And we're living, we're reviving, we're being restored back to our present state. Now, let's go to the Deuteronomy 28, verse 15, the curses. And get the video ready.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day.
So who's speaking? The prophet Moses. But it shall come to pass. Prophetically, within the future, Moses said, if you don't keep these commandments, or observe them, what will happen?
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God,
If the Israelites did not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, read.
to observe, to do all his commandments,
To observe, to do all his commandments, read.
and his statutes,
And his statutes,
which I command thee this day,
which God commanded in Mount Sinai by the hands of Moses, read.
that all these curses
All the curses of God, read,
shall come upon thee
shall come upon the Israelites, read.
and overtake
And overtake the Israelites. That's why I said these curses shall be upon thee for a sign and a wonder, and upon all thy seed forever. The curses will identify us with who we are as a people today. It will reclaim us. It will identify us as the biblical Jews, the Israelites according to the Bible. That's who we are. That's who we be. Now, get the video.
This is Kamlesh. She is a Dalit and considered an untouchable at the bottom of a brutal caste system. Kamlesh was pushed into a fire by upper caste men because she dared to walk on the village road that passed by their houses. She suffered 80% burns to her body.
If you thought systematic segregation ended with the fall of the apartheid regime and the victory of the civil rights movement, it's time to think again. Go on.
આ છોકરા કેમ બારું બંદર કેમ નહીં આવતા
પડાય નો આવે
તમે અંદર કેમ નથી આવતા પણ તમારા ઘરે આવ્યા લોકો કેમ
આવે ખરાબ પણ અંદર ઘરમાં નહીં બહાર
તને કોણે કીધું એવું કે તમે અભડાઈ જાવ એમ
ખબર પડી ગઈ ના એટલે અભરશિયાટ છે ઈ જ મને નહીં ખબર અભરશિયાટ એટલે હું
The human rights violations against Dalits include exclusion, torture, rape, slavery and murder, and fundamentally breach the principles of equality and non-discrimination laid down in international human rights law.
അവര് വന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് നിന്നെ നിന്റെ മക്കളെ കൂടെ ഇതിനകത്തിട്ട് പെട്രോൾ ഒഴിച്ച് കത്തിക്കുമെന്ന് നോക്കും പിന്നെ കൊന്ന് കുഴിച്ച് മൂടി കുളം തോണ്ടുവന്നു എൻ്റെ ഹസ്ബൻഡിനെ ആ കട്ടയിലോട്ട് ചേർത്ത് പിടിച്ച് വെച്ച് അമക്കി ഞെരുക്കി 2-3 പ്രാവശ്യം അങ്ങനെ ചെയ്തല്ല മരിച്ചു പോയത് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇത്ര പെട്ടെന്നൊന്നും പറ്റത്തില്ലായിരുന്നു
Across the globe, there are 260 million people living in segregation in caste systems. While the majority live in South Asia, where they call themselves Dalits, caste discrimination also affects the lowest castes in migrant communities and in Africa, Japan, and Yemen.
والله خدم على نشحه قالوا الطم الخادم معلش قال الخادم معنا في الاخر ولا احنا حاجه التنكه ذيك ب5 ريال نبيع باتريكات ونطلب طلبه نقري على انفسنا نبقوها لنا لا يدرسوا ولا يعملوا اي حاجه ولا والله العظيم ان احنا نقص قياع نقص غباب على حكم ربي سرحت سام من هذا المطر ضربني ومامو ما عقليناش نخدم لا خدام المغوطن احنا ما عزيز هدوش لا بتنحرقنا ولا بتنمتنا.
The way the system works is that you are born into an inherited caste, and your caste can never be changed. If you are unlucky enough to be born into the lowest castes, you are considered an unclean and subhuman servant to those above you.
ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਲਿਬਾਸ ਨੂੰ ਵੇਖ ਕੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਗਰੀਬਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੇਖ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਪਰੇ 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 ਹੋਣਗੀਆਂ ਚਾਹੇ ਨਰਸਾਂ ਹੋਣ ਚਾਹੇ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਹੋਣ ਚਾਹੇ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਹੋਵੇ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਕੂ ਬਾਹਰ ਨਾ ਦੇਸਨ ਆ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਬਰਤਨ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਭੰਨੇ ਟੁੱਟੇ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬਿਆਨ ਵੀ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਤਾਂ ਬਰਤਨ ਉਹ ਦੇਣਗੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਦੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਖਾਣਾ ਨਾ ਖਾਇਆ ਹੋਵੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਬਰਤਨ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਰੱਖਣੇ ਨੇ ਕੂਲਰ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਾਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੀਣ ਦੇਣਾ
Caste discrimination prevents Dalits from equal access to water, healthcare, education, and other basic services. It even extends to humanitarian relief work. As a Dalit, your caste dictates that you must do the lowest and dirtiest tasks in society, such as cleaning human excrement and sweeping garbage or working in bonded labour. Your untouchable status typically excludes you from alternative work and binds you in extreme poverty. These Dalit men in India are forced to clean the city sewers. Many of these workers die after being lowered into the poisonous gases.
अच्छा तो आपको पता है 2 बंदों की मौत हो गई है अभी ऐसे गिर के उसमें तो फिर भी आप ये काम कर रहे हैं पेट के लिए कर रहे हैं गंदा काम और बुरा लग रहा है
Discrimination in education is also rampant, and at school Dalits are often made to sit at the back, separated from the non-Dalit children, and are not properly taught by teachers.
रेवती आपके यहाँ कहीं बच्चों के साथ खाने में भेदभाव होता है क्या?
हाँ होता है लाटो गेर में होता है ना वहाँ अलग बैठाते बच्चों के लिए खाने
किस तरह से अलग बैठाते हैं
मतलब जैसे सारे शर्मन लोग एक साथ बैठते हैं ना तो मतलब हमारे लोगों को अलग दे देते खाना
Dalit children are often victims of corporal punishment and are forced to do especially demeaning chores that the other children do not do.
ડોલ લઈને બે જણના જઈ અને પછી બે ડોલ નરેહી ભરીને આવવાનું અને વારી નાખવાનું સવારે પાસે પછી પાણી દે દેવાનું જે ગંદુ હોય ને ફરી સાફ કરી નાખવાનું.
If you are a Dalit woman, the cocktail of gender and caste raises an even bigger barrier to tear down. In India and Nepal, Dalits and tribals are the main victims of sex trafficking and may inherit prostitution through their caste. This is the case for young Benita, whose caste offers her no alternatives.
All right. That's it. So that's the curses. That's all of Deuteronomy 28. Now, Deuteronomy 28, verse 16, get me the images that's just sent you. Deuteronomy 28, verse 16. Got it? So.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 16. Cursed shall thou be in the city.
So, as we just watched, the Dalits or the Untouchables being subjugated to the lowest caste system, not even considered of the four major castes within the Varna, were subject to the most menial jobs, whether it be street sweepers, sewer cleaners, or the most menial jobs, the worst jobs in society, bricklaying, scavenging. So cursed shall there be in the city, wherever we are, scattered throughout the diaspora, America, South America, Central America, and the police brutality, even the miseducation within our communities. We'll be cursed in the city. We'll be cursed with a lack of jobs, the worst jobs, no jobs. Economically cursed. So cursed shall thou be in the city. Read.
And cursed shall thou be in the field.
So let's get the city. Let's get some images. Cursed shall thou be in the city. So what we suffer in the cities of America, whether it be in Europe, Africa, now India. Cursed shall thou be in the city. Let's get some images to show how our people live in the cities of India, whether it be Gujarat, Kosha, Malabar Coast. So this is a Dalit gentleman in the sewer. Look at that. No protection. Feces, all types of chemicals. With that, know that that stuff goes into your body. So cursed shall I be in the city. Give me another image with the women. The two women on the ground, scavenging for nothing. The homeless. Cursed shall I be in the city. Cursed and subjected to poverty. Get the images with the children. Cursed shall thou be in a city. And look at them. Look at them closely. Look at the children. That's why it says some retain some of the African features. Look, go closer. So you're going to see little traces of them here and there. Look. You see? Yeah. So you're going to get, like you said, the Afro Latinos, and then you have the light-skinned Latinos. So you're going to get that here and there, different features. Wearing a face mask. All right, get the one, the education. Cursed shall thou be in a city, suffering the same curses of Deuteronomy 28. So wherever we go, scattered throughout the globe, we are the children of the curse, the children of prophecy. In the educational system, the literacy rate for the scheduled caste, and Bithar, I believe that says. Look at the literacy rate. Bahar. The same thing in Americas. Miseducation. All right? Let's go now. Curse in the field. Let's get the images with the fields. So even when it comes to, like I said, our brothers and sisters in India, just like we were forced and cursed to pick cotton, tobacco, sugar, rice. in America, which made America the most powerful economic system globally, making it the world's superpower. In India, likewise, our brothers and sisters were cursed in the fields. They served on the fields of tea plantations, silk farms, rice mills, salt pans, fisheries, quarries and mines, tea and spice farming, brick kilns, textile and domestic work as well, and the rubber plantation. So the things that we did in South Africa and America and the Caribbean islands is the same things that were happening in India. Get the other images with the women now on the tea farms. Yep. Now, get the brother, the rubber plantation. Oh, right there. So, wait a minute. Didn't this happen in the Congo?
Right.
Were they not cursed on the rubber fields?
Same
Or
thing.
the same thing.
Same exact thing.
Same exact thing. Suffering the same curses. Curse shall thou be in the city, and curse shall thou be in the fields. Now, let's go to verse 29.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 29. And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind grope in darkness. And thou shalt grope at noonday.
And thou shalt grope at noonday, just like what? The blind? We're groping at noonday. The sun is fully out, but we're groping. We're searching for our way. When the Bible, the truth is right before us, but we can't find it. We can't find our identity. We're hoping to recover our nationality, our identity, to research or recover our history. Read.
As the blind gropeth in darkness.
And as the blind gropeth in the darkness. The sun is out, the truth is out. But we're still searching for it, but can't find it. Read.
And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways.
And we should not prosper as a race, as a community, as an ethnic group. We should not prosper in our ways. Everything we put our hands to will fail. Whether it failed in Americas, it failed also to our brothers and sisters in India. Read.
And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee.
And we shall be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall redeem us. Just like we were oppressed in America in the 1960s, you had the Black Power movement under the Black Panthers, along with Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and many black activists. We were oppressed, so that's why they rose up for some type of social justice, some type of civil rights or equal rights. But God says that I shall be oppressed evermore, and read.
And no man shall save thee.
And no man would redeem us from the curse. The same social injustice that suffered in Americas, just like with George Floyd, Tamir Rice, Ramali Graham, Trayvon Martin. It's the same injustice happening in India. Same police brutality happening in India. Look at that. India. Dalit couple consumed poison after police violence. Damn. Get me the next one. We want justice. Same social injustice. We want justice with the fists up. No justice, no peace. The same song, the same tune, sing in a different continent with different language. That's all that's different. The continent, the language, and the facial features. We want justice. Get me the next one. Police brutality in Madhya Pradesh. Same social injustice, police brutality, mass incarceration. Give me the last one. When it says Dalit Lives Matter. Yep. Same atrocities. Dalit Lives Matter. Give me when it says no more killing. Killed, raped. Same signs. We've been doing from the 60s to 2020. No more killing. Swatch barat with my blood. Killed, raped, and they say something beef. Same atrocities. Same plight. Deuteronomy 28, verse 30.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her.
So not only we shall be betrothed a wife, and another man shall lie with her, meaning our woman will be taken, our woman will be raped. And we just saw in a video, there's a lot of rape amongst the community, Dalit women, and sex trafficking and prostitution. We shall be betrothed a wife, and another man shall lie with her. The upper caste system, or the Blahims, the upper caste, the Aryans, the Northern Indians, will rape your women. Jump to verse 48.
Verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
We have page 26 in the book. Okay, let's send you page 26.
So as y'all can see, this is some very, very heavy information of our people over in India. All right. Suffering the same exact curses that we're going through. I didn't even know they was going. I didn't even know they had a Black Panther movement over there, or a Black Lives Matter, or doing the same things that we're doing. Okay, so as you can see, like I said, the curses, it's real. All right.
Read Deuteronomy 28, verse 48 again.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, and hunger.
We will serve our enemies. In India, you serve your enemies. The northern or the upper India, North India, the Aryans, or what you call the Elamites, East Indians, or the Iranians. Those are the enemies which they serve on the Indian subcontinent. Read.
And in thirst.
In hunger and in thirst. Read.
And in nakedness.
And in nakedness. For clothing, you will serve your enemies. Read.
And in want of all things.
Anything you want, you serve your enemies. Read.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed.
We were destroyed as a people. Now go to the book, page 26.
A Dalit.
Nope, go down.
Oh, some underline, right?
Mm-hmm. Go right there. No, come on, go up. Right there.
Dalit.
Move back a little bit. All right,
that's good. Dalit are poor, deprived, and socially backward. Poor means that they do not have access to enough food, health care, housing, and or clothing, which means that their physiological and safety needs are not fulfilled. They also do not have access to education and employment. With deprived, we would like to underline the injustice they face in everyday's life. Officially, everybody in India has the same rights and duties, but in practice, it is different. Social backwardness, lack of access to food, education, and healthcare keeps them in bondage of the upper caste.
You see, the same curses in Deuteronomy 28 keeps us in the bondage. You serve your enemies for food, for thirst, for food and nakedness, and for want of all things. It just said it. Everything that you need: education, food, economics, healthcare. You got to serve the upper caste system. Slavery. Right before you. Go to verse 64. And give me the Hindu gods.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
And ye shall serve other gods, which thou neither thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Give me the image. That's why in India, under Hinduism, they serve Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, the three gods, wood and stone. Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And you notice how it's always three? Everywhere you go, it's always three in one, the Trinity. Who's that really represent? Who's that go back to? Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz. The same gods being recycled through different time periods. So, and there you shall serve other gods, even wood and stone. Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva is the gods that they serve. Hinduism, the religion in which they took on. Now, go to the next one, Islam. And not only Hinduism is prevalent in India, in which the Dalits partake in, but you also have Islam. Some of them are Muslims. Serving the Kaaba stones. Go to the next one. Sikhism. The popular religions in India, which the Dalits partake in, the Untouchables. No. Sikhism, the yellow and blue picture. Sikhism. And last one, the cross. As well as Christianity. So these are the prominent religions that our people partake in, even on that side of the world.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 65. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease.
Go on.
Neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest.
Among these nations we shall find no ease. Neither shall the sole of our foot find rest. There's no rest for our people in captivity. Read.
But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart.
A trembling heart will be filled with fear. Read.
And failing of eyes.
And failing of eyes, lost of hope. Read.
And sorrow of mind.
And sorrow of mind. Sorrow because of our conditions and our plight. Read.
And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee.
And our life shall hang in doubt before us. Get us the pictures. And your life shall literally hang in doubt before you. Wow. Parallel history. Give me the next one. Look at that. And your life shall, look at it. Children, and your life shall hang in doubt before you. Next one. Wow. Next one. Next one. Now, let's compare it to what happened this side of the world. Parallel histories. Go to Southern Kingdom. Read the last part again.
And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life.
You shall fear day and night, and have none assurance for thy life. In the Americas, Judah. Next one. Look, parallel, nothing different. Next one. Lynchings. It happened to them. It's happening to them. It happened to us, and it's happening to us. Go to Deuteronomy 21, verse 22.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 21, verse 22. And if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be to be put to death, and thou hang him on a tree.
Thou hang him on a tree. We were hung on the trees because of our sins. The curses of God plague us to this day. Read that again.
And if a man have committed a sin worthy of death.
Get the lynching again with Dalits. Read.
And he be put to death, and thou hang him on a tree.
And thou hang him on a tree. And thou hang him on a tree. Now get the Dalits. Look at that. Look at that. And thou hang them. Go through them. Go through them. Just go through them. Show them. And thou hang them on a tree. Just go through all of them again. Fast, quick. Just go through them. Yep. Next one. Next one. And read that again.
And if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be to be put to death, and thou hang him on a tree,
Read.
his body shall not remain all night upon the tree.
That's it. Go on, go on.
But thou shalt in any wise bury him that day. For he that is hanged is accursed of God.
He that is hanged is a curse of God. Takes on the curses of God. Read.
That thy land be not defiled, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance.
Mm-hmm. So, brothers and sisters, 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 46. As you're seeing the plight of our people on the Western Hemisphere and the conditions that we suffer on a daily basis, historically, it was prophetic of the curses that Moses prophesied unto the Israelites for breaking God's laws. And because we broke God's laws, we're placed in the conditions that we are in today, that we see. The history that you read in history books, the daily day-to-day lives that you experience, the mass incarceration, the conditions every day, the suffering, are the curses of God. Not only happen to our brothers and sisters on the Western Hemisphere, but also happen in the Eastern Hemisphere. And what we're talking about today is in India, particularly the Dalits. And not only the Dalits, because there's other Israelites. And next week, like I said, we're going to go over the Sidis. Judah and Israel were oppressed together. Read.
1 Kings chapter 8, verse 46. If they sin against thee, for there's no man that sinneth not, and thou be angry with them, and deliver them to the enemy, so that they carry them away captives.
God was angry with us because what? We broke his laws. And because he was angry, the other nations carried us away captives. Read.
Unto the land of the enemy.
Unto the land of our enemies, whether it be America, South America, North America, the islands of the sea, the Indian Ocean islands, and India, China, Japan. Read.
Far or near.
Far or near from Jerusalem. Read.
Yet, if they bethink themselves.
But yet, if we remember who we are, where we came from, our heritage and our laws. Read.
In the land whither they were carried captives.
In the land in which we serve captivity. Read.
And repent.
And repent. Keep God's laws. Find out who. Come back to your history. Come back to your heritage. Come back to your laws. Read.
And make supplication unto thee.
And make supplication unto God. Read.
In the land of them that carried them captive.
In the land in which you were carried captive. In the land in which you served your servitude, your slavery. Read.
Saying, we have sinned.
We have sinned. We broke your laws, God. Read.
And have done perversely.
And have done wickedly. Read.
We have committed wickedness.
We have committed much wickedness in our lands of our captivities. Read.
And so return unto thee with all their heart.
And we're supposed to return unto God with all of our mind. Read.
And with all their soul.
And with all of our soul, all of our being. Read.
In the land of their enemies.
And whether it be America, South America, Central America, and Africa, West Africa, East Africa, South Africa, whether in India, whether in Europe, whether in China. Read.
Which led them away captives.
Which led us away captives. Read.
And pray unto thee.
And pray unto God. Read.
Toward their land.
Towards Jerusalem. Face the east. Read.
Which thou gavest unto their fathers.
Which God gave unto our fathers. Read. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and which you're descendants of. Knowing who you are. You are the Israelites. You are not the Untouchables. You're not the Dalits anymore. You are from the tribe of, or the northern. You are from the children of Israel. Read.
The city which thou hast chosen, and the house which I have built for thy name.
Mm-hmm.
Then hear thou their prayer.
Then God will hear our prayer. Read.
And their supplication in heaven.
And our supplication in heaven. Read.
Thy dwelling place.
Our dwelling place. Read.
And maintain their cause.
And maintain your cause, your position. Maintain your heritage. Keep the commandments. Read.
Verse 50. Mm-hmm. And forgive thy people.
God will forgive you. Read.
That have sinned against thee.
Because we all have sinned against God. Read.
And all their transgressions wherein they have transgressed against thee.
Read.
And give them compassion before them who carried them captive, that they may have compassion on them.
Read.
For they be thy people and thine inheritance, which thou broughtest forth out of Egypt from the midst of the furnace of iron, that thy eyes may be open unto the supplication of thy servant and unto the supplication of thy people Israel, to hearken unto them in all that they call for unto thee. For thou didst separate them from among all the people of the earth, to be thy inheritance, as thou spakest by the hand of Moses, thy servant, when thou broughtest our fathers out of Egypt, O Lord God.
And with that, we say shalom. So brothers and sisters, whether you be in India, you call yourself an untouchable, or Dalit, you are the children of Israel. You are the biblical Jews according to the Bible. It's now high time for us to wake out of sleep and return to our cultural heritage, to return back unto your first estate. Come back unto the Bible. Come back to your true nationality and keep God's commandments. And we get the kingdom of heaven together. With that, we say shalom.
Shalom, Israel.